Hello, my name is Suna. I'm yet here with another color tutorial. There will be a little bit of background noise, but you'll be hearing me. I think I'm audible enough. And today we'll be trying to match two cameras, extremely different cameras. One is Sony Alpha 7, and the footage was shot in Slog. As you can see, I'm not sure which Slog, but I know it was shot in Slog. And the other camera is a Mark III, Canon Mark III. The footage was shot in a flat profile. Okay, we tried shooting a flat profile, as you can see it here. This one, as you can see it. So we are going to try to color balance these two different pictures. I'm going to be using lookup tables, so I'll be doing the work partly in Photoshop and then partly in Premiere Pro. The reason why I selected this one is because I could see her face, mainly her face. I could see it very well, and even as you see in the other one, still I tried to see most of her face, because I want to be looking at her skin tone as the reference person in the entire picture. So let's just take still of this one. You go here, export frame or Shift E, then you export it to preferred place. Mine, I'm going to put an extension, I will call it Sony. Not an extension, like I'll just call it the exact place, and then I'll just put Sony to differentiate from the Canon one. So let me just add underscore 2. So it's going to go here. If you want, you can import it, but I don't need to import it, so I save it. If you've already watched my last tutorial, you'll be familiar with this, the saving and the entire process of creating LTO. But today we are going mainly to focus on color balancing these two different pictures, because as you can see, the Sony is very flat, but the Canon has a lot of red, pinkish in it. So we need to balance them, and then we need to give them that nice rake. The Canon one, we are going to use this. I want her eyes open somewhere there. So let me also take a quick still, and then I will name it Canon. So I'm saving them in the same place. So I'm going to open the two files in Photoshop. This is the Sony one. Let me also just, before I forget, remember to save the files in TIFF, because TIFF has a better color latitude than JPEG. Let me see. I think PNG can also be nice, but me, I prefer TIFF. So we are going to begin by working on the Canon version, the Canon one. And please don't forget, don't put this lock off, just leave it. So all you have to do is just keep adding layers on top of it. Don't unlock it, just leave it. So we're going to begin with our curves. On this side, this is our histogram. Please notice what's happening in our histogram. It is very important. because the histogram is where we can understand the amount of colors, amount of light, the highlights, the shadows. So look at it. This is the highlight. This is reading the highlights, and this is reading our shadows, and this is our middle. This reads our middle range. And I'm previewing from the RGB, the collection of red, green and blue. I'm going to start by putting curves, and the curves, I have to really take note of my shadows, and I have to look at my highlights. It is very important, such that when we go to Premiere, they don't look clipped. So we go here, and then we click curves, and so begin by looking. As I said before, we have to notice and look at the shadows, and then look at the highlights. On the Canon, you can notice that they've already clipped a little bit, so we don't want to crush them, so we slightly pull the highlights down. So since we don't want to have such dull results, we slightly pull them on there. I think they are fine. And when you look at our shadows, they are seated in rightly. You can still bring them up just slightly there, but we can. There's another chance of working on this when we go to Lumetri, but for now we can just leave it here. So let's add a color balance to try to saturate it with color, because it's a little bit pale. So still go back here, and then click color balance. So let's start with the middle. Since I want to have her skin back, because our skins contain a lot of red, they contain blood in it, so we're going to add a little bit of blood in it. So we just add a little bit of red, not a lot. Let me just put it here, and then I want to have that orangish feel, so, or yellowish. So I'll add a little bit of green. Let me just put it here, maybe there, and then maybe I should add some blue, but no, let me just leave the blue there, because we already, as you can see, already having that light coming from outside, so it has that bluish feel. So let me add just one other red. When I look at the shadows, I feel her hair can go a little bit darker, and blue is, since it is cold and has that darkish feel. Let me just add just something slightly, maybe there. I think that's fine. When I look at my histogram, I feel everything is seated well. Let me add vibrance, and this is to deal with saturation. So let me just add something where I feel like the picture is really now popping out. I think here it is fine. It is becoming that rake. You can feel it is gaining its color. And let me just add saturation. Let me just put it there, so you can go back and preview and see how much the picture has changed. Okay, there's some progress. So let me also add contrast layer. So we'll go back here. Let me just give it like brighten it up a little bit. I think it is there. Yeah. As you do this, please take note of look at your shadows and then look at your highlights. Yeah. Let me also just add, maybe put that. This is too much. Oh, it's off. I was wondering why it is not being affected. So here I'm trying to add light in the shadows, but I think that's okay. Yeah, I think that's okay. So we started from here. We started by adding our curves, and then we added our color balance, and then we added our variance, and then we've added our brightness and contrast. So the reason why I put this side by side is when I add almost the same amount of color onto the Sony, mainly I want to look at her skin color, and then I look at the green wall and compare the two. That's why I put them side by side. So what I'm going to do, since I'm happy with the Canon one, I'm going to copy all these layers, effects. I'm going to copy them onto the Sony, and then I'll adjust them individually. So just click here, and then I hold shift, and then I click all of them, and then I put my cursor here, not on the mask, no, put it here on this round thing. Don't put it on the rectangular box, no, put it here, and then you click, and then you drag, hold and drag, and then drop it onto the Sony one, just like that. Notice when you're working with these layers, don't click the mask. You can only click the mask if you are going to work on the mask. But since we are not working on the mask, we are working the effect, you click on this round thing which looks like a moon, the one you keep clicking. When you look at her histogram, everything looks okay. The highlights are not crushed, and the shadows are well lit. So maybe thinking maybe you can just bring it a little bit down slightly, but you can still achieve this. You can bring it down slightly, but we can still achieve this when we put on the bright and contrast layer. I can put the highlights back up. They are not crashing, so we are in a safe zone. Let's just leave it there for now. So let's add on our color balance. Remember, these ones are there, but they are not switched on. So I've added my color balance. Let me add slightly more red, because the Sony lacks, when you compare the Sony and Canon has more red, and Sony lacks red. So let's just crank it up, maybe there, and let's just add a little bit of green. Let's just put it somewhere here, And let me see. No, let me just undo that. Maybe to be, let's just move on to the shadows for now. Let's just leave them there for now. Let's add like 10. You can actually type in, and let's just take it to maybe -5 or -4, and then let's just add this, move this one to negative, maybe 6, maybe 5. So we try to compensate for the red. On the highlights, there's kind of red. Let's just, because the light is coming from outside, let's just increase the presence of the blue light from the sky, and then let's just cut. You can feel this greenish-ness in our face, so let's just slightly cut it out. Let's add our variance. Let's just reset it, because it is very flat, so we add a lot of, maybe we can keep it there. I'm sorry for background noise, and there are a lot of people around today. So the brightness, but make sure take note of your shadows and the highlights, so we are still safe. Then let's try to also crank this up, so this is helping us to recover the tonation in our skin. So when you look closely, this one and this one, they are slightly the same. We'll have a chance to work on this when we get into Lumetri and Premiere, but for now I feel we are very close, and yeah, you can tell someone that this was shot with the same camera. The only difference can be in the whites, the highlights, and this one's kind of crashed because this person was trying to match the light with the Sony Alpha, because on the Canon the dynamic range is really very low, and on the Sony it has a high dynamic range, so that means it doesn't crash the whites nearly easily like the Canon one. But for now I think you can save these and export lookup tables, so you can. And then I'm also saving this one. Wait, the computer is still saving this one. Okay, and then I'll also save Ctrl S, or then I'll also save to give me that one, and then I'll also save this one. So to saving, you just go here and then say export color lookup table. This one is called this. It has Sony _2 TIFF. Then leave it to do its thing. Then I also go to this one. I tell it also to export. It has Canon, this one, and then Canon _2 TIFF. and I leave it to do its thing. Okay, we can leave it there for now. So we're back here. You can choose to go for that color thing and choose one of these menus up here, something like that. We can lock it since we are going to use adjacent layers. Hopefully everyone is familiar with adjacent layers. So according to this is upper clips, upper one, an upper layer, a Canon, and then these lower clips are Sony. The difference, this is more flat, and then this is kind of more saturating, though it's also flat, but it is more saturating. So let's just drag the adjacent layer here. We're going to be applying a color correction on the adjacent layer. Now it's easier to keep copying it on the other different clips. So since this is a Sony one, we'll go here in our geometry, and then we add our I think this is the name. Yeah, so just open it up, and then ta-da, it is applied. And then also put on LT adjacent layer here on the Canon one, and then we browse. It is this one, Canon. Yeah, when you look at these two, I'm mainly looking at her skin color, and I look at the grade. So here you can go on and try to maybe warm it up, and then do some other colors and change it. You keep looking at this, see if there is no difference in the color. I look at his skin color, and then you look at in the close-up. It really looks good. So that's a way of trying to matching the colors. And then when I look here, I look at my saturation, the vector scope, it's not oversaturated, and then when I look at here, it is okay. So if I look at my shadows, they're not crashing, though the highlights are slightly clipping. So before I copy different clips, I can just slightly bring it down. Can bring the highlights a little bit down. So you can just keep copying these. These are the same, so you can just drag it. You can just drag it here, and then here it is a Sony one. This is a Sony one. I can just alt and drag and drop, and then I think it is this one. So when you look at both of them, they're already matching. So that's a way of matching two different cameras. I just want it natural. Okay, that is it. Thank you for watching. Please share with a friend and subscribe. Bye.